So today I'm going to make my Kalua pork, Kalua style pork, and I get asked to make this a lot. It's very easy to make. I've made for big parties, for weddings, for game day, for baby showers. It's pretty versatile. You can use it in a lot of different things. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to make the pork, and then I'm going to package it up, and we'll make other videos off of it later to show you how to use it. So I've made it two ways. You can make it either in a crock pot or you can make it in the oven. I've made it two ways to show you. So one of the things you want to really pay attention to is make sure that it's wrapped really, really tight. So in the crock pot, all you do is take your pork butt, stab it a bunch of times so that the liquid smoke goes into it. Leave the fat cap on it, don't take anything off of it, just put it right in there just like it comes out of the package. This is about a 7-pound roast, so that's about all I could fit in here. So just poke it really good. And then you're gonna put just liquid smoke. It's the only thing you put on it at this point. So it's about 3 tablespoons for this pot. Just a nice coating. Too much will ruin it. Too little, you won't taste it. So right about 3 tablespoons is what I've decided is appropriate for this amount. You don't put any other liquid in it. Leave it like it is. It's the super easy recipe. Wrap it up. Like I said, you want to make sure that it's really, really tight. So I take another piece of foil and just kind of wad it up in there to make sure that it's got a nice seal on it. So you kind of let it steam and stew at the same time, so you're braising it. Just make sure it's really nice and tight. Put the lid on it, plug it in, turn it on low, and let it go for about 5 hours. This is the one I did in the oven, so it's nice and hot. I put saran wrap over it and then foil, so trust me, the saran wrap doesn't melt as long as you get the foil nice and tight on it. But it also helps to keep it steamy, so you can see when you take the foil off, the saran wrap is still on it. It comes off. It's not melted. It looks just like that when it comes off. I don't know how that works or why it works, but it does. So at this point, you kind of look at it, see how much juice is in it. I actually didn't add anything except the liquid smoke to it. I kind of go through it, see how much, there's a lot of fat on it. You want to make sure you take the big chunks off. So we're just going to go through and pull those big pieces off before we pull it. These didn't have a lot of fat cap on them, and you see how they shrunk up quite a bit. So, and it's the same amount of roast that went into the crock pot. You don't have to get every little piece of fat off, but you do not drain this liquid off, because this liquid has got fat in it, but it's also what makes the meat juicy. So some people, I've given this recipe to a lot of people. That's the biggest thing that happens is they drain it off. It becomes this dry, shredded beef or shredded pork, and it's no good. You can't fix it after that. You really can't fix it. So just go ahead and leave that on there, in the pot. You'll see when we get through shredding it how much is absorbed back into the meat. That's key to making this right, is to leave that on there, in there. Do not drain it. So I'm just going through it, kind of separating it out. I'm going to shred it anyway, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like. Just kind of get the big chunky pieces out. And then you're going to just take it and really just shred it up. It should be this tender. It just makes it easy to shred. Makes it easy to absorb the liquid. Once you get it all shredded, you're going to refrigerate it, and it'll all kind of come back together. The meat gets really juicy. It's the beauty of this is you can put it in the freezer, which is what I'm going to do, is bag it up. I have a vacuum packer, but you can put it in just baggies, take the air out of them. It'll stay in the freezer really well. I usually put it in like 3 or 4 cups in a bag, and that's enough for making something else with it. And just shred it up really good. So look for all the big chunks. Like I said, it only has the liquid smoke on it at this point. All of this juice is just the juice that was rendered out of the pork. People are used to putting liquid in their braises, but it's way better when you just do it this way because it's just its own juices. Because I'm going to use this in other things, I really don't add a lot of extra seasoning at this point. Depending on what I'm going to do with it, I'll add seasoning at that point. Do add salt, and quite a bit of it. Meat takes salt really well, makes it taste better, brings out the flavors, so we'll put some salt in it once we get it all shredded up. And that's all we'll put in it at this point. And you can actually just eat this on a bun. It's delicious. I like to let it sit for a day just because then it really comes together. But I'll probably have a bowl of it before I go tonight. It's usually when I make it, I make a lot of it because it does freeze so well and it's so versatile. You make this for all your parties for the summer, for your either summer parties or game parties. See how much liquid is actually going already back into it. So that's pretty well shredded. Looking for any big lumps coming into it. Look for any big chunks of fat. If you see any that are floating in it, just take those out. So that's what it looks like at this stage, just shredded pork. And this was done same, I did it in the oven, 225, 5 hours. So if you get some roasts have a big fat cap on them, so you want to take that big fat cap off before you start doing any shredding. It just makes it easier. So we're gonna, like I said, we use a lot of salt on it. Be generous. Taste it. Make sure that you get the right amount, not too much. I use kosher salt because I like it because it doesn't take as much, and I like the flavor of it. I like the fact that it doesn't just dissolve into it. So this is all we're going to do with this today, and then you'll see in other videos what I'm going to do with it after I let it rest. You can always come back and see how it turned out in some of the other videos.